the 5 most exciting young managers of 2023. With the 2022-2023 season finished, we witnessed yet again a ton of surprises and exciting moments. And of course, with the transfer market on the way, we are to expect some rumors and hot headlines where some of them are going to be about managers. Although the big old names are always the most discussed, you might hear a bit more about these young managers on this list. Today we are having a look on what we think are the 5 most exciting young football managers who are expected to become highly successful in the future. Number 5. Vincent Kompany. Last summer, following Burnley's relegation from the Premier League, the team was entrusted to a very young manager who had only 2 years of experience as a coach. However, little did they know how much they would love Vincent Kompany just a year later. After 2 years as Anderlecht's head coach, Kompany returned to England, and only in his first season in charge, he completely changed the face of the club. Burnley secured promotion in the Premier League with 7 matches remaining and won the league with 101 points. Vincent Kompany brought in many important players who improved the side's quality, and 2 of his findings made it to the EFL team of the season: Ian Maatsen and Nathan Teller. Kompany completely changed Burnley's training ethics. He established tough training sessions, and their hard work paid off, as Burnley were one of the most physically prepared teams last season in the Championship. Kompany gave discipline and a strong mentality to a young side and changed their trademark defensive long ball game to a flowing possession-based approach. He won the Manager of the Month in October, prior to securing 3 consecutive ones in December, January and February. Of course, he was named as EFL Championship Manager of the Season after a fantastic debut year in England. We can't wait to see how will the ex-defender adapt his team in the Premier League. Number 4. Reuben Amorim. The 38-year-old Portuguese started his career as a coach in the 3rd tier of Portuguese football with Casa Pia for the 2018-2019 season. A year later, he was coaching Braga's reserves, but mid-season he was appointed as their main team head coach following the dismissal of Ricardo Sapinto. Although Braga was struggling, in his 13 games in charge he only lost 2, both legs against Rangers in the Europa League. Amorim was very soon successful as he led the team to a League Cup trophy, winning the first title of his career. 2 months later, he was appointed as Sporting's new manager, and he left a mark even though the season was almost over. Amorim was able to lead them to a 4th place finish, securing the qualification in the Europa League. In the 2020-2021, despite having a lot of players leaving Sporting, his upbringings, new signings and ideas led the team to a League Cup win, and their first league title in 19 years. Reuben Amorim was rightfully awarded as the Primera Liga Manager of the Season. His team even went on a 32-league unbeaten streak. Keep in mind that he was only 36 years old when he did so. His strong personality and his amazing communication skills made him a very charismatic character, a leader who can earn the trust of his players, getting his ideas on their heads, producing a beautiful football. Amorim is surely one of the most exciting young managers of the moment. Number 3. Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso started his coaching career with Real Sociedad's B squad, where his work led the team to a 2nd-tier promotion for the first time since 1962, having been coached by the best managers around like Mourinho, Guardiola, and Ancelotti. Is an amazing factor in Alonso's knowledge of football. He knows and understands the game very well, as it was shown in his first season with Bayer Leverkusen, which was also his debut year in a top-flight league. When the Spaniard was appointed as their manager, Leverkusen was sitting in 17th place in the league. They had only managed 5 points in 8 games. However, as soon as the 41-year-old was in charge, he completely changed the team's tactical approach, adapting a 3-4-3 formation, which would often turn to a 4-4-2. Helped by the return of Florian Wirtz, Alonso led the team to a 6th league finish and the Europa League semi-finals. Jose Mourinho himself predicted that Xabi Alonso, with his amazing football knowledge, the fact that his father was a manager, and how he had been managed by the best coaches in the world, would lead to him having great conditions to be an exceptional manager himself. We can't wait to see how he will do next season. Number 2. Xavi Hernandez. The 43-year-old primarily started his managerial career with Al Sadd in Qatar, a time which he used to gain experience with coaching and where he won 7 trophies with the club. However, his first test started when he returned to his beloved Barcelona, replacing Ronald Koeman. Barcelona were in severe crisis, finances. They had a lot of debts, they were sitting in 9th place, and of course, it was their first season without Lionel Messi. Xavi was given the hard task to help Barcelona find their way back to success, which, considering the club's off-the-pitch problems, seemed like an impossible job for the young manager. However, Xavi patiently worked and signs of revival were seen in his first season, as was the famous 4-0 El Clasico win against the team who won the Champions League that campaign, the mighty Real Madrid, therefore ending Barca's 5-match losing streak in the previous El Clasicos. They finished second, saving a season that seemed doomed. In the 2022-2023, we got to see Xavi's work turn into a glimpse of hope for the fans, despite being eliminated in the Champions League group stages, and afterwards in the Europa League. Barcelona played a decent season. The team was not ready for a European challenge, but even so they had a successful season, winning the Supercopa de España against Real Madrid and clinging the La Liga after a 3-year drought. Xavi's ideas and philosophy, along with his work on developing his players, like returning Dembele to a top-class winger, led Barcelona to success. Number 1. Roberto De Zerby. Probably the most interesting manager in the Premier League last season was the 44-year-old Italian coach Roberto De Zerby. His revolutionary ideas earned the praise of none other than the 5-time Premier League winner Pep Guardiola. Not only that, but he led Brighton to the club's first ever European qualification in his debut season in England. Prior to his fantastic work in the Premier League, he had impressed highly in the Serie A as well, in his early days as a manager with Benevento but especially with Sassuolo. After a short spell in Ukraine, where he won the Ukrainian Super Cup with Shakhtar Donetsk, he was appointed as Brighton's new manager. During the season, De Zerby's Brighton managed to win 2 times against Liverpool in the FA Cup and the League, and in their 2 clashes against Chelsea, they won both times. They weren't very generous with Arsenal as well, whom they initially eliminated from the EFL Cup and then thrashed them 3-0 in Emirates Stadium. Of course, they also beat Manchester United once and held on a draw against Manchester City on 24th of May, convincing everyone that they were a tough team to beat because they performed so well against England's best teams. Surely, Roberto De Zerby will continue to amaze us in the future, as he is very likely to become a highly successful manager.